That's not really the issue. I am depressed, but I do too much shopping, that's why. But no, the problem is, deep down, that damn convenience. Yeah! I just about killed Molly. Welcome, everyone. Earth, somebody give me an earth-hallelujah here today. You're a little bit downbeat as a congregation. I think Hurricane Debbie had her way with you or something. It's a hot day, maybe. I want you to stop shopping. I want you to sincerely change your lives. And if you do, there's a possibility I will too. No, that wind really came in here. We got a taste of, we've had Hurricane Beryl, Hurricane Otis, those twin hurricanes down there coming over the Grenadines in Jamaica, and then in from the Pacific into Acapulco, interrupt the tourists. Those twin, they were like on a date together. They had a kind of a similar vibe. Otis and Beryl, I wish them well. Maybe they met on Tinder or something. So they both shared a particular quality. They went from a regular breeze to 200 miles an hour wind in one day. Both of them did that. And afterwards, the Weather Service said they might consider a new Category 6 for evidence indicates we'll just have to keep going. 7, 8, 9, 10. And in the last month, in upstate New York in July, in one 9-day period, there were 16 tornadoes. And as far back as they've been measuring, 60, 70 years, the average number of tornadoes in the month of July in New York State has been 1.5. So the apocalypse is here. The Chxrch is here. It might be just a little bit late for us to stop shopping. It might be a little bit late for us to withdraw from the. Thank you. I went off the deep end there. I got near the door and I was thinking I might go shopping. Since it doesn't matter anyway. So we feel. When Debbie came in here with her winds a couple days ago, it was like the Chxrch isn't down there and up there. All of a sudden, no, it's here. It reminds me of last year when we couldn't breathe. Remember that? The Canadian fires. Well, they got that again happening. I think they're up to 400 now. 400 fires that they can't control. The earth is coming here. The earth is on its way. You remember the old Russians Are Coming movie? Remember the movie The British Are Coming? The British Are Coming? Remember that? The earth is coming. The earth is coming. We would like to point out to you, humbly, that the earth is already here in us, coming up and down our streets, in our little suffering trees that are collared by concrete. The earth is there too. Down underneath, up above, everywhere. We're breathing the earth. The earth is allowing us to be here. The earth is here. We don't have to wait for a superstorm to come here to remember that. I would like to ask you now to search back in your memory when in the last few days you may have encountered the earth. The earth may have shown up for you. You got one?
Yeah, I was driving in upstate New York and a tree fell down from the wind. Whoa. And go along Eastward. The earth was there.
First of all, you had to jump out of the way. Well, all right, I'm confident now that everyone here is recalling actively right now at this moment. Am I right? We're going to lead the way. Right? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to show you how to do it. Just stop that memory and remember it. Where the earth showed up for you, somehow, it can be a meal, it can be a wind, it can be sex, it can be the earth comes in many forms. Tell the story of how the earth came up and said hello to you to the person sitting next to you. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. That's so fucking wild. I'm like an asshole.
The beat beat of our hearts. The rest of my life is flying by yours. The lives of us punching through the doors. Because you walk by me and I walk by you. Everyone we've ever loved is walking by too. Because the air around you moves like light. I gather the four walls and fall with the night. Because the hours were ours, time carries the part. Our quiet wildness is the beat of our heart.
Hallelujah!
Beautiful earth, beautiful earth, beautiful earth, beautiful earth, beautiful, beautiful earth. What do you have to say? Fire and smoke,
share a story with you here. May I?
Yes.
Well, back in my younger days, way younger, I was a bird watcher. I love the birds. And I lived in a good bird town of Watertown, South Dakota, which is, anybody heard of it? Well, it's it's near Lake Wobegon. It's just west of the Minnesota border, right there, straight west of Minneapolis. And it's kind of where the farms are turning into ranches, right, kind of right there. And we lived there in the 60s. And I had this dentist named Dr. Moriarty. And Dr. Moriarty drilled, and filled. And at some point, he said, well, I hear that you love the birds. I said, yes, I love birds. And so over time, Dr. Moriarty and I became fast friends around birding. We would bird together. And we would leave Watertown and go somewhere. We had a choice of different ecosystems. The loons and evergreens and lakes of northern Minnesota, or towards Little Bighorn, or down towards the Nebraska. We had choices. And we could go quite a ways because of his car, which I called the Gold Cadillac Rocket. The Gold Rocket. One might say an unusual car for a dentist from a little Midwestern town. But there was no doubt when he was coming down the highway. First of all, the gold wasn't really dull gold like coming out of the factory. It was bright gold, as if it was repainted. Bright gold, and it was one of those 50s, 60s airplanes. Where am I? Automobiles. They were like airplanes. The aesthetic they were drawn to was the ability to fly. Am I right?
Hallelujah.
And so the fins. Anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Fins. We have some fins here in the. Don't we have some Finnish people? Oh, here we are. Molly. Molly is Finnish. Molly is Finnish. Amen. Praise be. There are better reasons to love the Finns than that they resemble a word from a Cadillac in the 60s in the United States. However, you'll take it where you can get it, right?
Right.
So we are on this one occasion in his bright gold rocket with the silver trim, of course, around the windshield and the hubcaps and the bumpers. It was gold and it was silver. And I asked him about that, and he said, well, that's what I put into people's heads. It had to do with his dentistry. He was celebrating his filling people with gold fillings and silver. Well, okay. You didn't think that was funny, did you? So, we had this one trip that we were going to take all the way across this long state called South Dakota, all the way to the Black Hills. In the Black Hills, a group of about 60 ornithologist professors were meeting in a kind of one of those rustic, but still has all the comforts of the upper middle class conference centers, right? And so it was the Wilson Ornithological Society. Wilson Ornithological Society. The WOS. And they were meeting there, and we were going to go and be with them. And I guess that Dr. Moriarty was a member. He had that, he wanted to think he was highly educated. And he got their their periodicals in the mail and so forth, and pretended he understood what they were saying. Anyway, we set out very early one morning in the Gold Rocket on Highway 90 across the Dakotas. And we were just coming out of the farms into the ranch country, and then you get to the Missouri River in the middle of South Dakota. Anybody been there? South Dakota. Amen? All right, okay. On the other side of the Missouri River, you are immediately in either national grasslands or you are in the reservations. The Sioux, the Crow, the Mandan, the Harakara, you're in the last stand where the Indian Wars were fought. You're on your way to Little Bighorn. And of course, the Black Hills was the sacred center of the world there, of earth culture people. Taken from them when we discovered gold there. So there's a certain unfortunate symbiology there with shooting like a bullet in a gold car towards the Black Hills. And I only kind of understood that unfortunate symmetry of symbology at this very moment. And I'm stunned. And I'll finish this sermon now and start crying. So, we were somewhere past the Missouri River in the grasslands, and the fact that the native peoples never cultivate, they never plow, and although we tried to force them to, they didn't. And the national grasslands are supposed to protect the grass. So the long grass prairie out there is just like an ocean. It's just always, I wonder what it would have looked like with Hurricane Debbie blowing. It's just waves all the time, waves. And I love that. It was the ecosystem that I love the most. And in this gold rocket, I'm kind of riding shotgun but sagging on the right end, and then Dr. Moriarty is at the steering wheel. And in my reverie, I think, from the waves of grass, I don't know, at some point I start praising this one bird, the magnolia warbler, which is 4.5 inches long, but it's brilliant colors. It's streaks on its breast and gold behind on its shoulders like epaulets, and blue cap and black wings, and beautiful bird. And I started praising the magnolia warbler there, riding shotgun in the gold rocket. And I guess I couldn't stop. I guess I went over the top, which I've been known to do. I started saying there's just nothing like the magnolia warbler. I mean, why do birds sometimes evolve to be so beautiful? That has nothing to do with survival of the fittest, does it? It's just beautiful. And the magnolia warbler is just so incredible. If you see it in a springtime in a forest, it just pops out of the tree. It's just amazing. We called him Maury sometimes when I was feeling really casual with him. Dr. Moriarty. Magnolia warblers are the most beautiful warbler there is. Of course, warblers are all over the world, and they're all 4.5 inches. They're tiny birds, but they're usually yellow. But they have some yellow there somewhere, and they have beautiful voices. And you can't find them when you're a bird watcher. It's hard to find them sometimes because they're so tiny. But that magnolia warbler, whoa! The magnolia warbler. And then and what happens? What happens? At some point, Dr. Moriarty looks at me, and we've been in the car like with a flat horizon now, just drifting for like 5 hours. And he looks at me and he says, "I think the myrtle warbler is much more pretty." And so, how can you say it? The myrtle is dull. The myrtle, that has nothing going for it. The myrtle, the poor thing, there's no painter there. Something's missing. The myrtle warbler come on. All it can do is warble, sing. That's all it can do because it doesn't look that good, Dr. Moriarty. The magnolia warbler, on the other hand. It's the myrtle warbler. That's the one, the myrtle warbler. Yeah. More subtle, but it stays in your soul, stays in your memory. It's really, but what about the magnolia warbler? What Dr. Moriarty, you have to admit, when you see that in a springtime forest, on a twig singing its heart out, whoa, with those streaks. Who painted that anyway? De Kooning? I don't think I said de Kooning. This is like 1966. Myrtle. Maggie! Myrtle. We started sounding, it was a duet. It was like a tuba and a trumpet, tuba and trumpet. I'm 15 years old, he's 65. Maggie! Myrtle. Maggie! Oh, Maggie, so beautiful. What a beauty. Myrtle. And then that goes on for some indeterminate amount of time. And then I realized that the tires are skidding on the Interstate 90, that we're like kind of sliding sideways. And I look at Dr. Moriarty and I realize the cords of his neck are bolting out. His eyes are like binoculars. He is white-knuckling the steering wheel. And I realize that he is hitting the brakes and he doesn't care what's going to happen. And what is this all about? And I have no idea. I think he's having a heart attack. Maury, what's going on? Are you okay? And then we're stopped, and he gets out of the gold rocket, slams the door, and says, "The myrtle warbler is the most beautiful bird in the world, young man! You schmuck!" And then he walks around the back of the Cadillac. And I don't know what to do. I get out, and I walk back there too. And when I get back there, there's this, the Greatest Generation, big Irish guy, flat top haircut, standing there like this. Like those old paintings of boxers, in the funny shorts. And all I can remember is fear. And I bolted. Yeah. And I ran. Right. Straight north. Right. And after I was off the interstate about 20 feet, I realized I was in over my head in grasses. And then this ecosystem that I've just come to love so much, that when it's never been plowed, it really is something else. It's not a lawn, and I'm not like so much running as swimming. I'm kind of like all four appendages are just struggling, trying to get through, trying to get away from this person who's going to kill me. This person who's going to kill me because he considers the myrtle warbler more beautiful than the magnolia warbler. I'm going to die for that reason. I'm going to die as a result of that argument. Is that a noble death? I don't think so. So I just struggling. And what I remember now, my memory's spotty here, what I remember is just birds and animals. Just it's like the bow of a ship throwing up surf. It's just like the pouring away from this crazy 15-year-old who's like just struggling straight, trying so hard to get away, and not die. I don't want to die. And I just remember waking up somewhere and it's dark. And I'm looking up through the grasses, blowing above me, and there is the stars on a clear night above the Great Plains. Anybody with me here? Anybody know what I'm talking about?
All right.
It's not the starry night sky above you. You're up in the stars. It's just breathtaking. Then, suddenly I remember why I'm on my back in the middle of the grasslands. It's all coming back to me. Why I ran, where I am, what am I doing here? It was a summer day. My first calculation was I'm not going to freeze to death. But God knows where I am. And I started from that point. I thought, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to like slowly peek over the top of the grasses and there was no evidence of a rocket, of a dentist with fists in the air, or Interstate 90. And I don't know where I was. And I don't even know if I was running in a straight line, you see. Singers, you with me here? You know I love you. You know that I love you. I love every one of you so much. I love you. And I love you. I love all of you here. I love you. I love you very much. And this is kind of the moment in the story where it occurs to the protagonist that he must love. He must survive because of his love. He always called the grasslands his favorite thing, the most beautiful thing. Although it wasn't the home necessarily of the magnolia warbler. But so lovely, so amazing. Did you have a good time remembering the earth? Did you come up with any memories that you may not have had otherwise without the church urging you?
Oh yeah. Yes. Hallelujah.
I have this idea about stories, that we carry stories around. This story has been coming back to me since about Wednesday, since Debbie was here. And I don't know if it had something to do with her wind, but it was the return of an old friend. This story I recall at different parts. I'm not really sure can't identify a pattern when it's going to show up, but it made sense to me that on an extremely windy day that my ocean of waving grasslands would connect. Maybe that's it. I think that each of us has hundreds of stories in them that we select. Does that strike you as a true statement? And we sometimes don't know why. We select some statements, some stories, and we edit some stories, and we strengthen some stories inside of ourselves, and we recall them often, and we do what I call ritualize the stories, because we streamline. This is like the story I just told you. That's like a haiku compared to what happened. But I've streamlined it over time. I want to remember the high points. I remember the cause and the effect, and I want the story to be in me as a ritual. I used to say that I have 811 stories in me, and that there are about 8 really strong stories at the 100 point, at the 200 point, the 300 point, etc. And that they keep the stories around them kind of under control. Because it's like a seething compost heap of stories. And any story at any time can get stronger and take over that story that was supposed to be watching that night. And that's how we grow. That's how we mature. That's how we demature, if we have to do that. If it's time to be crazy, then another story takes over. If it's these stories, this theory of what guides our behavior and what we think of most often, and what we believe and what we repeat, and how we make love, and how we build things, and what we do with our time. what we do, what we think of when we're alone, and how we are with other people. There's a series of ways that we are. And I believe that those stories, the prominence of certain stories in our weather system, interior weather system of stories, that our selection of stories, whether it's glory be when we got the gold medal at the Olympics, or abuse as a child, a lot of us have that story. The stories are good and bad. They can't be judged. They are just there. They are us, and we have to work at it. We have to work at being a human being in this life. So my being in this Earth Church with my fellow activists who risk arrest with me, we think a lot about what makes direct action, what makes it strong sometimes. And it's not necessarily strategy. It's not necessarily, well, that was just like sitting at the Woolworth's Diner back in '64. It's not necessarily like an effective one in the past that is carrying a tradition of affect forward. It's not necessarily because we're right, even. It's not necessarily powerful because we're correct. It's not necessarily powerful because we have a neuroses and we have to invade the JP Morgan Chase Bank. Because Chase got our checking account wrong 10 years ago and ruined my marriage as a result. We have grudges. We have neurotic grudges that will drive our activism. Anybody know what I'm talking about here? I mean, anger has many sources. Anger as such is not necessarily a powerful thing. In a direct action, you've got a Exxon there, and you've got a lobby, and you've got a bunch of people going in there and investing, and it's on the Upper East Side, and there are people with fossil fuel investments everywhere, and you really want to do something there, and you're angry at those people, and you go in there and have a flaming tantrum, and it turns out that wasn't the right thing to do. Your anger wasn't the right motivator. It wasn't correct. A lot of people go into direct actions now because of their careers. Because the environmental movement is this many billion-dollar item in the world, and you get notoriety, you get bravery units, you get gold stars. So we have many motives for direct action. And I have to say that if you put them all together, on the table together, and you look at all the motives we have for all the direct action that we've done on behalf of this living being here, this living being that has brought us here and loves us so much. If you look at that table of motives for direct action, you have to say it hasn't worked. The sixth extinction is accelerating. It is well underway. We are in the apocalypse that the scientists have warned us about at the IPCC for years and years and years and years. We're in it. We're in it. The last 30 months, every month, all the indicators are worse. Heat, temperature, sea rise, everything. Polar melt, everything you can find. The biggest Atlantic Ocean currents that keep Northern Europe moderate, changing direction. Jet streams over the Pacific Ocean. They're starting to dance up there. They're moving around. They're changing. They're making decisions. God knows what's happening to us right now. But you have to be honest about our reaction, and that is our reaction is fairly minimal. We're not really that excited about it. And we have to make that an issue. We have to ask ourselves, why don't we know the most ultimate emergency of our lives is taking place right now? And why don't we seem to have a special response? I see the parts of our society that are supposed to respond to history as history is happening. The arts, the politics. Just look at the different segments of society that are supposed to have public spokespersons and they're supposed to come kind of ready for what happens. They're not noticing it at all. Even the weather people don't seem to be noticing it very much. Now, I think there are a bunch of people in this room who are noticing it, but you're not getting it, are you, from the traditional sources of information? You kind of have to find it. And then you find yourself in the middle of 200-mile-an-hour wind somewhere. You find yourself in the middle of an earthquake where there wasn't an earthquake for 500 years. You look a little bit, and the earth speaks to you in no uncertain terms. And we believe that the earth communicates with us that way. The earth is talking to us right now, and we're refusing to listen. Instead of listening to what the earth is doing, and seeing what the earth is doing, and appreciating it, and taking it into our bodies as a story, we're rejecting it as a story. And what do we have instead? Well, in the last 20 years, the form of story in our culture that has made the most money, that has taken the most money from the pockets in this room, are the blockbuster video games and the blockbuster Hollywood movies, which are depictions of, they get their script from the apocalypse, from climate change, from the earth. That 4-story guy, Thanos in the Avengers, who looks at the camera and says, I will end your goodbye, Dana.
Goodbye, Dana.
I was seconds away from saving your soul. And now you're going to take a shit.
What did Thanos say?
Thanos, it's just a cliche, looks at the camera and says, I will end civilization as we know it. And he's 4 stories high, and he's like this comic villain. He's wonderful. Anybody know Thanos? Amazing. That, in other words, we're watching the emergency. We're in the act of consuming, shopping for the emergency. Don't know how to make the emergency real for us. In other words, the major institutions out there that control the money, that control the fossil fuel, that control the military, that control the religions, they know that we make our meaning out of stories. That's what Americans do. We're not French philosophers, honey. We make stories, simple stories that guide us. And they can push our stories around. They know more about our interior than we do. That's why we're so undefended. But here in the Earth Church, let's help each other, shall we? Help each other defend our stories. And help each other arrange our stories so that we are defended. So that we can help each other be defended. So that we can, and this is what the Earth cultures keep telling us, so that we can participate in this extinction with the Earth. Now that may sound really strange, but for one thing, who calls it the extinction? Some scientists long ago? It's evolution. The Earth is evolving. The Earth is finding a way for life to make more life. That's what evolution is, and that's what the Earth must do right now, is be life, making more life. And the Earth cultures, the Earth people that we have slaughtered and stolen from, they're still telling us when they have the chance, they're saying, you know what? The Earth has invited us to be a part of this. We're not supposed to treat the Earth like, right now we're just ignoring it, it seems to me. But when it does come up, the weather people treat like a big tornado, they treat it approximately like they're talking about an adolescent, juvenile delinquent. We do not respect the Earth. In our public descriptions of it, in our policy statements about it, always paternalistic towards the Earth, always looking down at the Earth. That has to end. And that's why prayer works. Prayer is a good idea. And that's why remembering stories where the Earth made an appearance and having a personal relationship with the Earth, going to Prospect Park, going up into the Rambles, going into Inwood. But you know what? The other day, at a traffic island in the middle of Houston Street, I said, I love you to a little pathetic, exhausted-looking maple tree with tape around it. that the Department of something or other had put there. The Department of Farm. Love the earth all the time, actively. Work on it. Love the earth. Love the earth. If you love the earth, the stories that you need will start rising up in your bodies. You know what I thought of when I told that maple tree that I loved them? I think it was a non-binary tree. I had the thought of running through the long grasses. I was still running, and I'll always be running. I'll always be running. I'll always be running to be with the earth. I love the earth. I'm going to learn to love the earth more because I know the earth loves me. And I know that all the birds and prairie dogs and eagles out here, I will meet them all. And they will be with me. And we will be together in love in the earth. Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
I am looking for birds sang, and the birds sang.
I lived in the forest.
And the birds sang,
I lived in the tree.
and the birds sang.
I lived in the forest.
And the birds sang,
I lived in a tree.
and the birds sang.
I lived in the forest.
And the birds sang,
I lived in the tree.
and the birds sang.
I lived in the forest.
And the birds sang,
I lived in a tree.
and the tree is the opposite of a cop. And the tree is the opposite of a cop.
Tree is the opposite
Of a cop.
A 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 tree is the opposite
Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Francisca! Avery! Happy birthday! Francisca Benitez!
So now we can run some community announcement.
Yeah.
Anybody wanna,
Some activism here.
yeah.
Anybody have any?
Anybody has a community announcement to share?
Yes.
Cool.
Dana is on a Zoom, so he asked me to remind folks that you'll be performing at an event for him, 100 Years of Cannabis Prohibition and the Emergence of a Movement and the Drug War, 2 to 6 p.m. Saturday, August 7th, right here at this location.
This Tuesday?
Yeah.
Saturday.
What did I say, wrong date?
Saturday.
No, August 17th.
17th.
What day of the week is
It's
it?
Saturday.
Saturday.
August 17th. Sometimes saying it wrong the first time, then you say 6 or 7.
I know, you did, yeah, it really worked.
Quite a bit of trick, right? All right, and it is a suggested donation, but, you know, if you don't have money, it's fine, just bring some weed. You know, the
The
drill.
17th Saturday. Okay, let's remember that. Vera, can we write that down?
It's in the calendar.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. That means I have to read it. Anybody else? Any activism here? It's the doldrums of summer, isn't it? We have 460 people now. Oh, yes.
August the 17th, 6 o'clock until 9, St. Mary's Episcopal Church, 521 West 126th Street, between Amsterdam and Broadway. We're gonna book party for Mumia Bujamal. So everybody who can get them free, please show up.
Now, Mamiya has written a new book. Oh.
We had a conversation about it, and he's a co-writer in his book. And there's a Todd Stevens Burrow who talks about the trial of Mumia Abu Jamal. Gives the opportunity of 25 voices. So there will be quite a few speakers, and everybody is invited to come. If anybody here can get him out of prison, please, I beg of you, I kiss your feet. Please, please. He's been locked up 44, 43 years. And it's too long for you to make
Free Mamiya. Free Leonard Peltier. And all the political prisoners. Freedom all! 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 be back next week, 5 p.m. Some of you may not be getting our newsletter, which is, all the gossip and all the, wisdom and gossip right next to each other.
I know, I started saying that.